choosing officers and candidates for all card-bearing members in good standing to be responsible for the election of presidential candidates, which has pretty much become the bone of contention, not just for presidential candidates, but essentially for all relevant elections. And if you've heard from persons close to the individuals, the Professor Michael Quay-led committee which looked into the party's electoral defeat, that's one of the many things that stuck out for persons they spoke to whilst work was carried out in relation to the work of this committee. Now, he proceeds to say this, that we need to have an expanded participatory nominating process. Based upon our experiences in recent elections, we must come to the understanding and believe that the voters, when given the choice, will ultimately make better decisions than any outstanding group, individual set of operations or activities. And so this is the paragraph he adds to the proposal he's making to the delegates as they assemble in the capital. From today, we get the indication that they began landing in the capital ahead of that crucial delegates conference. And just this last paragraph from him, increase and stronger voter engagement is the appropriate path forward to allow voters, all card-bearing members of the party, to select our best candidates. And emphasis on our best candidates, not just presidential candidates, but will include all national executives as well as parliamentary candidates, is what we're learning of. Then there is Kwabena Japan, whom we're learning of now is interested in vying for that flag bearership race. What proposals has he put forward for consideration tomorrow? We'll find out. It's a bit similar to what Mr. Ejako has been tabling. Now, he wants presidential primaries be organized first with an expanded electoral college. Special college used to trim aspirants to 5 should be abolished. There's a reason why perhaps he could be making this second proposal. But the first is that the presidential primaries should be organized first before any other thing is done. And so he makes the point that elections, as we're about to see the party do, presidential primaries happens first before the reorganization will kickstart. Then special college used to trim aspirants to 5 should be abolished. Remember, in 2023, he was a part of the individuals when that special election college election happened, fell short, did not meet the criteria or did not get the required votes to proceed on to the subsequent election in November thereof, which elected Dr. Bawumia as he then was vice president of the country. And so you can understand why he says that this should go, but there's a history as to why this was initially brought. Remember that primary in somewhere 2008, 2007, where there were as many as 17 aspirants. The conversation was that it brought about a lot of disunity and was part of the reasons many say the NPP did not win the 2008 election. And so this special election college was introduced to trim the numbers to ensure that just 5 persons go through for the election. But he is proposing that be scrapped going forward. And a paragraph from him as well in backing all of the things he's put forward before the committee. Now, he makes the argument that to reduce tension associated with the numerous elections the party conducts at various levels ahead of the presidential candidate election, it is proposed that the presidential primaries be held first after the expansion of the electoral college. And we just move to the Peter McMenu and then Evans Nimaku proposals as well. Former chairman, director of elections, say they want the abolition of the delegate system of choosing officers and candidates for all card-bearing members in good standing. And so that's in backing of what we've seen from the Boachie Jaku recommendation. This is the final one from the Council of Elders. They want all National Council of Elders members vote in all national elections. And they say that past presidents, vice presidents, and past national chairmen be inducted into the Council of Elders at the end of their service. And then they make the last points that Council of Elders must not support or be seen to favor any candidate, and it's mandatory that there be quarterly meetings with the president when they are in power. These are the proposals. Let's subject it to a bit more interrogation right now. Dr. Samuel Efriye is joining us. He's a political analyst. He's joining us this afternoon on Zoom so we can pick thoughts from him as to what he makes of these proposals as we've been going through them for you. Doc, I appreciate your time this afternoon. You've seen us go through a number of these proposals. Let's start with the abolition of the delegates conference, the delegate system rather, and then allowing all card-bearing members in good standing participate in these elections. A good way to go?
Yes, exactly. The party need to consider, because it's one of the concerns of the members of the party, because when you look at one of the major reasons why the party lost was due to these few delegates that were being selected to elect constituency executives and also hence to elect presidential candidate and parliamentary candidates. And the MPP has had some serious issues about these albums when few people are being selected to elect some of these things. And it has been one of the ways to manipulate the system to some self-seeking or some selfish interest individuals. So it is critical that the party need to look at this seriously and tend to broaden their base. But I realize that the NDC broadened their base, and it is giving them much more control in terms of more people joining the party, more people having great concern. So if the party tend to, I think there should not be no excuse for this to be changed. And I believe that 5,675 delegates meeting from this, that is this Friday and tomorrow, will tend to make these changes. And it has to be soon be implemented as well. I don't think that when it is being changed, they have to delay it. There have to be a system put in place that all card-bearing members will tend to have the right to vote. Even, I suggest that even the presidential candidates and the presidential elections that will be coming on 31st January. And I think that one will make the party more united. And so we will let more people to be part of it. And also will avoid a situation where corruptible people will take the advantage of that. Because when the numbers are huge, it's very, very difficult to manipulate to for an individual to take an advantage of. So it's good that they take a look at it.
Right, but how do we see this playing out? How does it affect the NPP's internal democracy, considering that these delegates who were expecting to vote to make these changes, some argue are direct beneficiaries of the system as it is in place right now?
You know, Mauna, sometimes some of these issues, when there is a concern or is a party concern, you can't just go in and have your own interest, you know. And one of the major, as I was saying, that according to the Michael Quay's report, even though just that we have these, what do we call it, just hearsay or something, but the major factor that made the party lost in one of the 2024 elections was due to this kind of system. Because when people go in and they are being given these kind of gifts, money and whatever to induce them to vote for a particular candidate, people were reluctant. Some of the party members were reluctant to even join them to go and campaign. So by broadening the base, it will just encourage more party members to join. At the same time, the few ones that are going, 5,675, is an opportunity for you to listen to the people on the ground, that these are the concerns. If they want the party to move forward, I think nobody should be a stampede to this kind of change that they want to make in the party. And I think that every member of the party wants things to be changed. And I don't think that some people will tend to, the few ones that will want to go and change it will think that it will just allow more people to come in. No, I don't think that it will help the party. The party is for all members, and all card-bearing members should have the right to vote, even from, that is the 31st January parliament, that is the presidential primaries that are coming. And that will make the party more stronger and then give hope for members that they can make a difference in
Right.
2028 elections.
Doc, I want to pick your thoughts on that recommendation by the Council of Elders. They want quarterly meetings with the president when the party is in power. Help us get into the understanding or the reasoning behind why they are insisting this be included in the proposals for tomorrow. Is it from lessons from the past of what has happened? Reason for which they are making this case strongly?
Yes, Mahmoud, I think it's a strong case that they are making because of the past experience. You know, when presidents are being elected, sometimes they decouple themselves from the party that brought them into government. And there are certain issues that mostly they don't have the opportunity. But if it is formalized, then it behoves on whoever that is the president to always come in within the quarterly, that's quarterly, to come and then meet the president, so that if there are any concern of the party, they will tend to put forward to ensure that the party is also not left out in the governance. And that is what has been one of the major problems within political parties. It is not only the MPP, the NDC is also part of it. You know, when they come to government, you realize that they don't listen to the party concerns. They just move on and think about their own interest. And this has become necessary for the party to come out of these things. If it becomes mandatory, it becomes within a part of their constitution.
Right.
I don't think that anyone that will come in will tend to just throw this meeting away. It will force them to be part of the party to ensure that they move the party forward, also in government as well.
Doc, as always, thank you very much. That's Dr. Samuel
My pleasure.
Speaking to us this afternoon on the very latest, as we know, of the NPP's delegate conference. We'll be on the lookout for these proposals. Absolutely. And what delegates decide, Ken.
Absolutely. We'll stay on elections, Moana, because the Accra Regional Police Command has provided an update on the violent incidents and assaults that occurred during the Ablekuma North parliamentary rerun held on Friday, 11th July 2025. According to the police, several videos capturing the disturbances at various polling stations have been reviewed and are currently being analyzed to identify all individuals involved in the violence. The command has also obtained statements from complainants and witnesses to support ongoing investigations. Vital leads have been gathered, and the police have assured the public that the arrests will soon be made. Victims involved in the incidents have been issued police medical report forms to facilitate their medical treatment and assist further inquiries. Now, a former Chief Executive Officer of the National Petroleum Authority, Dr. Mustafa Abdul-Hamid, along with 9 other individuals, will appear before the Criminal Division of the Accra High Court on Wednesday, July 23, 2025. The Office of the Special Prosecutor confirmed the court appearance in an official statement published on its Facebook page on Thursday, July 17, 2025. Now, this follows corruption-related allegations filed by the OSP. Now, according to the Special Prosecutor, Dr. Abdul-Hamid is alleged to have orchestrated an extortion and money laundering scheme that generated a total of 280.5 million cedis between 2022 and December 2024. Now, out of this amount, 24 million cedis was purportedly paid directly to him, with the remaining funds allegedly funneled through third parties and 3 corporate entities. Meanwhile, lawyers for the former Chief Executive Officer of the NPA have stated that their client is innocent of all allegations leveled against him by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. In fact, according to Hay and Partner at Law, their client is ready to contest the allegations in court. Some more reactions on this development. We know that since the announcement was made, a lot of reactions have come, and now the OSP has been criticized for his decision to publish mugshots of persons alleged to be involved in the NPA extortion scandal. Legal practitioner Abraham Malba and political analyst Dr. James Kwabna Bonfe have been commenting on this matter. They were speaking earlier on New Day, where they discussed in depth this matter that has to do with some 280.5 million cedis allegedly funneled through 3 corporate entities amongst 10 people, including the chief executive officer of the NPA under the NPP's administration, Dr. Mustafa Abdul Hamid. Let's take a listen. We'll bring you that a little later. In the meantime, we'll take a quick break.
State, or the state versus Kwabena Adu-Boahene, has started officially today. Let's take you there right now because lawyers of Mr. Adu-Boahene are speaking to the media.
Justice might suffer if the Attorney General is in this ambulance mood.
The court has issued with the expression ambulance trial.
I will never withdraw that. I believe that as if we are in an ambulance mood to get these people jailed. I will never withdraw. That's my sense of it. So even where we should wait for a motion to be heard, Attorney General is in no mood to even respect the rules. And it's on me also, so the judge will just respect what he's saying and obey it. I've seen several things in the court which is telling me that Attorney General is having his own way in that court. And whatever he says, then the judge wants to do it for him. Since we started these matters, that's my strong view of the matter. And I'm afraid justice, whatever you want to call it, should never be at the expense of my clients. You see, if you want a expeditious trial, fine. It should never be at the expense of my client. My client should be given the facilities to contest the case fairly.
But is it fair to the judge to say that it appears whatever the Attorney General wants, he gets in court? 2 objections were held in your name. You requested an adjournment. It was granted. And on all 3 occasions, these were against the strong protest of the Deputy Attorney General. So is that assessment fair to the judge?
It's inconsequential at all, because the Attorney General orally will abrogate time. If you saw what happened, there were motions that were intended for the 29th and the 30th. The Attorney General believes that those motions should not be taken and that the case should be heard, next week. He was obliged. You should open your eyes to see what is going on there. You don't need too much intelligence that, it seems to me that this is the Attorney General's, pleasure, which is being carried out, even if it will cost us injustice.
In terms of the exculpatory document that you wanted, the court is saying that you have to show relevance by the fact that AG has them to be able to provide them for you.
The same AG was able to bring the National Security Coordinator's account. Where did he get it from? Where did he get it from? So we shouldn't confuse that if it's in your possession, it means it's in your armpit. But you can commandeer it. That's what the law says. You can place a demand on other law enforcement agencies to bring the documents that will aid the case of the accused persons. And these are constitutional provisions. These are not matters of anybody's invention. Why are we subverting the Constitution with such impunity? As if we are in indecent haste to get somebody in prison. That's my sense of what is going on.
Okay, you have 2 applications pending. What are these applications?
The first one is disclosures. And then I want them to see the necessity to look at whether or not somebody acquired a property in London, at what time, with what money. So if you can't show the nexus between the property acquisition and the so-called account from which these monies were fretted out, then you have a very poor case. So my sense of this case is that what they need, the accused persons need, to destroy the case of the Attorney General, they don't have it. And somebody believes that, with impunity, let's go on because I'm running very fast to get somebody incarcerated. How can you deny somebody his weapons of warfare and hurry him so that somebody will come and say that, this case was not properly conducted? Meanwhile, everything that will expose this case as dangerously anemic and aberration of justice is with them, and they don't want to bring it. How do you process a situation in which, before a judge, are missing pages of documents brought by the Attorney General, and the judge says, all right, we don't have to see the other missing pages? Is that justice? That's why we appealed the case.
And the other application, you talk about the disclosure.
Yes. And stay of proceedings, that we lodge an appeal against the refusal of the disclosures with the Court of Appeal. And we've come to the judge that, look, in view of these matters we've raised in the appeal, you should stay proceedings. Because at the end of the day, if you hurry this trial and what the accused persons need for cross-examination and defense is not available, you've shortchanged them in an irreparable way that somebody is going to go to jail because concealing evidence is comfortable with the Attorney General. That is unfair.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
so you had the lawyer for Mr. Adu-Boahene, and he took issue with the court, basically accusing the court of bias, of doing the bidding of the Attorney General. He thinks that there are a lot of things that are happening in court that are not to the case of his clients.
And Sixtus, let's go into the details as to proceedings today. We heard you asked a question as to a number of applications he put before the judge, which went his way. What really transpired in court today?
Well, so those applications go back to the processes that lead to this point. The first application has to do with the refusal of the court to allow the state to bring in documents from national security.
In court today, the focus was on the first prosecution witness, Frank, who was the driver to the former Signal Grow boss, who testified before the court that on a number of occasions he had been sent to cash out checks from Standard Bank and UMB Bank, which monies after cashing out were sent and delivered to Mildred Donkoff, who is the third accused person. So he was sent by Mildred Donkoff, who is the third accused person, to cash out the check and to deliver the money to the first accused person, Mr. Adu-Boahene. Now, that testimony was critical to state that he knew what had happened, but then he also went on to testify that indeed he did not know exactly how much money was involved, because oftentimes the checks were sealed in envelopes and given to him, and upon reaching the bank, he would not open the envelope. He would give the envelope directly to the tellers, who in turn would cash out the money and give it back to him. Then he would in turn go deliver the money to Governor Adu-Boahene. But what again was a shocker to the lawyer for the accused persons, Atakia, whose voice you heard moments ago, was that the same witness had been picked up by the Iyoko, questioned by Iyoko, and detained, in the words of the witness, for 6 to 7 days, because he wasn't sure exactly how many days he had been under detention for. And so the lawyer was wondering, if you went through this in the hands of the state, why are you here today testifying against your former boss?
Right. Sixers, we're learning as well that Mr. Adu-Boahene had some altercation with his lawyers in open court, suggesting that he was relieving them of their duties as in representing him in the case. Can you confirm or deny this for us?
Well, this was not Mr. Adu-Boahene. This was a third accused person, Mildred Donkoff, who had said that he was relieving the lawyers representing him, Atakia, that's a lawyer, Atakia. And so she has the opportunity to let a different lawyer represent her.
Right then, Sixtus, thank you very much for that clarification. Sixtus Dong Ulu, my colleague in court for us today.
Now, human rights groups in the Republic of Togo have condemned the continuous detention and allegations of ill treatment of several citizens arrested during the civil protests that rocked the country in June, weeks after the widespread protests, which were met with resistance from government forces. Several persons remain in detention as the Togolese government cracked down on persons demanding the resignation of President Faure Gnassingbé, who has been in office since 2005. Our correspondent, Faisal Abdul-Idris, is joining us with a bit more from Togo. Faisal. Right, Faisal, talk to us about the situation we're hearing now. Human rights groups are now condemning detention because citizens are still being held?
Yeah, so during the protest in Togo last month, several persons were arrested. Government statement on that indicated that some of the persons arrested were foreign nationals. The numbers, the government was silent on that. The civil society organizations, including those involved in human rights activism, mentioned that the numbers are, exceeds some 50 persons. A few days into the arrest and weeks after, some of them have been released, 18 I was told, and then over 30 of them are still being held in detention. I spoke to one of those persons who have been released recently, one 24-year-old law student, who indicated to me that while in detention, they were tortured. At a point, he mentioned that several times water was poured on them while in detention. We have also seen videos of how people were brutally beaten on the streets. Then that translates also that before they transition them into custody. There is also the story of a nursing mother who is still being held, and the families asked to come for the baby, but the families have refused. And so the mother and the baby are still kept in detention. The civil society groups in Togo and also the Catholic Archbishop have been condemning this, asking the authorities, government forces, to first and foremost make sure that whatever they are doing falls in line with the internal laws of the Republic and also in line with the international laws on human rights and human dignity. Yesterday, I engaged one of those groups leading this conversation, that is the Center for Documentation and Training on Human Rights, and the Executive Director, Mr. Esondon Koga, has been speaking to me. Let's listen to exactly what he's been telling us regarding the happenings in Togo.
Some people that were arrested, I visited one pharmacist that were arrested before the hospital of Be, who were detained for, I think, more than 48 hours. And this one actually was not participating in the protest. And a lot of people that were arrested, and a lot of them were actually released. Talking about the last protests, we heard about, I think, at least 18 of them that have been released, and more than 30 that have been put in custody and waiting maybe for a trial. And this actually is not consistent with the international principles. Yes, the authorities, the forces of security, have the right, as part of the maintaining of public order, to proceed to arrest of people that are disturbing this public order. But it must not be undistinctive arrest of people that are not even protesting, and even the condition of the arrest. Like even when they will be proceeding to the arrest of people disturbing public order, the conditions must be human conditions. We must not see, for instance, people being arrested brutally, being beaten up, and for the demonstrations of the 6th of June. Actually, people allege that they were tortured during their detention. We listened to some of them, and other civil society organizations listened to others. Reports were written, declarations were made by the press. And in fact, recently the United Nations Special Rapporteur on freedom of the right to protest also spoke up about the situation. They have already sent a communication to our state in August last year about their concerns regarding the conditions of arrest,
Faisal, what can you tell us about the current situation in Togo, weeks on?
Yes, so the agitations in Lome, Togo particularly, are not over yet. The arrest and the continuous detention of these persons is fueling further agitations among persons who are connected to the protest. Some who say that they are still not ready to let go of the issues, particularly when government in itself is in a state of denial, not acknowledging the issues that are fueling the protests across the country. Just yesterday, they held the election municipal. It's an election that is used to elect municipal representatives that make very critical decisions regarding how projects are cited in their areas, issues of budget, and also issues of public service. These elections, some observers say, is supposed to test the popularity of the Fonyasimbe regime. And yesterday, what was recorded largely was voter apathy across all the police stations, and that is to send a clear message to government that the young people of Togo are not ready to do anything that will further legitimate their stay in government. And so the issues we are talking about and the happenings in Togo are far from being over yet. Emily.
So we'll leave it here. Thank you so much for talking to us. Faisal Abdul-Idrisu is our Volta region correspondent. Now, let's head for the Ashanti region now, because the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly is facing mounting financial pressures as its debt stock surges to over 100 million Ghana cedis as of June 30, 2025. The alarming figure, driven largely by unanticipated judgment debts, has prompted urgent measures to curb further liabilities and stabilize the Assembly's finances. Given his sessional address at the first ordinary meeting of the Assembly, the Chief Executive Richard Kwesi Wedi Ajiman revealed that the debt burden continues to grow due to unresolved legal cases and new liabilities arising from court rulings.
FMA is saddled with huge debts and amounts, and this amounts to 123,485,021 cedis 95 pesos as at June 30th, 2025. It keeps growing with the introduction of new debts, mostly from judgment debts. And such judgment debts come without notice. A strategic measure has been formulated to have the legal department lead a drive to have out-of-court settlements on pending cases that looks there for KMA, and also attain flexible payment plans on already decided cases. A risk assessment policy has been developed to curb the resurgence of such debts in the future. Much more worrying is instances where cases are brought to the attention of the KMA, and when we have to take an action on them, sometimes by even writing back to those who write with the intention of suing us, we renege on that responsibility, and before we realize, KMA is saddled with so much debt. What I've experienced in the few days that I've been in the office is that most of the cases that have given us huge debt were highly avoidable.
Ibrahim Abubakar is Ashanti region correspondent. Ibrahim, talk to us about how the KMA was able to get such high level of liability in the hundreds of thousands of cedis.
So, Kemini, as we speak, KMA is currently entangled with 44 pending court cases, and 10 of them are active. And a significant portion of this lawsuit stems from wrongful demolition and also contract breaches. That's how come he was mentioning judgment debt. So the debt keeps piling because people demolish structures wrongly, people also terminate contracts wrongly. So this time around, to be able to prevent future litigation and also be able to minimize these kind of judgment debts, the Assembly has issued directive requiring all demolition and even termination of contracts to be reviewed by the Metro Solicitor's Office before any action will be taken, and also to be able to support the development project and offset its liabilities. The Assembly is intensifying its revenue mobilization strategy. One, it is looking at increasing digitalization of revenue collection systems. Two, it is also looking at enhancing supervision of revenue streams. Then three, it is also looking at adopting performance-based incentive for these revenue collectors. So those who have performed satisfactorily will be rewarded. Those who have not performed will also be reprimanded, so that at least by the end of the day, they will be able to boost the Assembly's financial capability. So these are some of the strategies the Assembly intends to take going forward to be able to cut down on its debt and also be able to get more money to do some developmental projects.
Well, good luck to the KMA then. Thank you so much for talking to us. Ibrahim Abubakar is Ashanti region correspondent.
Now, the Minister of Defense, Dr. Adu-Boahene, has reiterated that the Ghana Armed Forces will withdraw all military personnel assigned to provide protection for private individuals and government appointees who are not officially entitled to such services. Explaining the directive to the media during a working visit to some military installations, the minister stated that not even the governor of the Bank of Ghana requires military protection.
Let us enforce the discipline that governs the Ghana Armed Forces. If you have not been deployed by your commander, you don't move. You understand? So it's as simple as that. Don't go and provide guard duties or any other services that you have not been legitimately deployed for. You'll be dealt with. Individual civilians are not entitled unless the Ghana Armed Force itself has, based on very good reasons, has said that, okay, for this and that and that, this is what must happen. That is completely different from, let's say, Bank of Ghana. That will require the presence of the Ghana Armed Forces to perform certain functions for the institution. That is different from other institutions that will require for it. But I don't expect you to see the governor of the Bank of Ghana and a uniformed military officer is the bodyguard.
In response, the flag officer commanding of the Eastern Naval Command, Commodore Solomon Isiedu-Labi, assured the minister of the military's full compliance with the directive.
The military is the bedrock of discipline, and if the government or the minister is requesting for enforcement of discipline, not soldiers not to do what they want to do, we will go wherever to ensure that that is upheld at the highest level. So we ensure that discipline is enforced and anybody who steps beyond the bound is held to account.
And that will take us on to our very second break here on News Central. When we return, we're live across the country with Regional Hub. Stay with us.
Welcome back. Now, let's turn attention to education because 67,000 teachers in training have sat for the 2024 Ghana Teacher Licensure Examination. The last to be conducted under the existing format as government takes measures to integrate the examination into the final examination for the next cohorts who will be graduating from the various teacher training institutions across the country.
The teacher licensure examination was introduced in 2018 as part of a broader effort to ensure that teachers possess the necessary skills and knowledge to deliver quality education. The Ghana Teacher Licensure Examination is administered by the National Teaching Council. The pass rate on average from 2018 to 2024 has been around 68%. The exams have come under intense scrutiny following concerns about the failure rate. During the 2024 electioneering campaign, the then National Democratic Congress presidential candidate John Dramani Mahama reaffirmed his commitment to abolishing the teacher licensure exams and integrating them into the final year examinations of teacher trainees. Whilst touring some exam centers, Minister for Education Haruna Idrisu said pragmatic measures will be taken to integrate the licensure examination into the final exams of teachers in training.
We wish them the best of luck. I trust that the National Teachers Council will, before end of August, as was announced, give this cohort another opportunity for a resit, where our government takes appropriate and necessary measures to integrate licensure into the final exams of the next cohort of students that will be passing out of our teacher and teacher-related universities and educational training colleges across the country. We are honoring the manifesto pledge because for us, that decision should not compromise the quality of teachers that we have, that Ghana must have.
He was
Now, in education news, the National Council of Parent-Teacher Association has commended government for reinstating the parent-teacher associations in all pre-tertiary institutions across the country. The council reaffirmed its commitment to ensuring the effective operation of PTAs nationwide. Raphael is General Secretary of the National Council of the Parent-Teacher Association. Let's take his quick thoughts on this. Mr. Gabson, what specific measures will the PTAs put in place to ensure financial transparency? Because a big concern is that you should not be charging fees.
First of all, let me thank you for the opportunity to use this platform to express our commendations for the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. That's our appreciation. It's our heartfelt appreciation for his timely and progressive directive to ensure that there should be full restoration of parent-child associations operations at all pre-tertiary level, and also to commend the Director General for strictly acting on the directive of the President. PTAs, we don't charge fees. We charge dues and levies. Fees are for government, dues and levies are for associations. And as an association, we are duty-bound to contribute our quota to the development of education in the country, because we don't take our children to school and the school environment, if there are challenges in the schools, we don't support government and other stakeholders to fix those challenges, to improve upon academic standards and learning opportunities in the school. So we are there to support. That is why we believe that development in education, together we build.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Gabson. We'll leave it here because of time and then bring you a bit more in terms of some others. But let's switch our attention and stay on education, because the performance of schools in the whole West District in the basic education certificate examination has seen a significant improvement in the last 10 years following the introduction of some tailor-made curriculum initiatives. Despite this improvement, Member of Parliament for the area, Emmanuel Kwesi-Bajwa, is calling for concerted efforts to sustain and improve educational outcomes in the area. We're returning to Faisal for a quick chat on this. Faisal, we know the performance of schools in that district particularly has not been too good in the past. Tell us what's contributing to this improvement and what we're hearing from the Member of Parliament.
Yes, so before 2014, there were 10 schools in the whole West District that were recording 0% in the basic education certificate examination. And this became the headache of stakeholders, particularly the office of the Member of Parliament. At the time, the overall performance for the district stood somewhere around 48.5%. And so they began looking at things they could do to change this very trend of poor performance. They have had to put in a number of initiatives, including the issue of infrastructure development, ensuring that the teacher-student ratio deficit was closed. And also, top of the issue was the introduction of a school-based quiz competition that is named as BASA. 10 years on, the MP is telling us that the improvement is seen largely over the period, which now stands somewhere around 70% overall for the district, is attributed to this very competition, because the competition in itself brings all the schools to participate in extra curriculum activities, including things that are already part of their curriculum. And this basically, according to the MP, is what is accounted for the high performance, which now stands somewhere around 70%. Let's listen to the West MP, Emmanuel Kwesibedra.
Level, the results were not too good. And so I had a discussion with the then DC director that we needed to motivate the children. And when the Vosa student came and wrote a report for me, I decided to run with the report that why don't we motivate these kids by engaging them to competition, which we name BASA. This year, the third years, as you know, have written their exam already. So the teachers decided to groom the second year. So you notice that all those contestants, those who are contesting today, are basically second year and first years. And
that's a Whole West Member of Parliament, Emmanuel Kwesibedra. Faisal, thank you very much for that update, but we'll stay on education just a bit longer.
Indeed, technical and vocational education training, TVET, is seeing a significant surge in popularity across the country, with enrollments rising compared to previous years. However, in the Western region, this positive trend is facing challenges. For instance, the lack of a dedicated administrative office to streamline affairs. Our regional correspondent, Irama Smith, reports from Takoradi, where the issue was raised during the Western Regional Minister Joseph Nelson's visit to monitor the ongoing TVET exams.
The buzz around TVET is palpable in the Western region, with workshops filled to capacity and long queues at registration centers, signaling a growing preference for skills training over traditional academic paths. However, this is not without its challenges. Principal of the Sekondi Takoradi Technical Institute, Engineer Thomas Kwabena-Kujo, cites infrastructure as one.
Now, our biggest challenge is infrastructure. You know, as the numbers increases, we need classroom infrastructure. So we are pleading with corporate Ghana donors to come and give us classroom infrastructure. This is our need.
Western Region's TVET Director, Engineer Anthony Owarejekum, is also concerned that the lack of a central administrative office, which is essential for strategic planning.
Yes, the regional office, our major challenge is the office space. We don't have a regional office. Currently, we are at the institution, that's the SCTI, that's where we are lodging. So that's one. And the second challenge is, as a regional office, you need some tools, be able to go around, do monitoring and other things. So these are things that we believe that if we get, we'll be able to perform to our utmost best.
Western Regional Minister Joseph Nelson, however, reiterates government's commitment to TVET while emphasizing the need for prioritizing the region's competing needs.
The infrastructure deficit is glaring. What can we do? There's a lot we need to do because TVET has come to stay. And so everything we need to do to support it grow, to become whatever we want it to become, as in contributing to the education of our youth, we have to do.
This year's national TVET examinations have recorded a total of 5,473 students, comprising 4,288 males and 1,185 females across 20 examination centers here in the Western region, marking a significant increase from the 3,500 students last year.
I want to have skilled on mechanical engineering. I want to be a machinist. I want to be a lieutenant. And I've been seeing many ladies doing that, and that has encouraged me to also do that.
The reason why one should choose TVET instead of going to the senior high is because after you are done with the TVET or you have completed the TVET, you are said to be professionally trained in any aspect of what you came to do. So you can be self-employed and then you start up a business.
So while the Western region rides on the wave of increasing TVET enrollment, the lack of a central command post remains a significant hurdle. The question now is whether the administrative infrastructure can catch up fast enough to support the skills revolution happening on the ground. Irama Smith, TV3 News, Takoradi.
Right, on that education front, we draw the curtains on this week's edition of News Central. The weekend is here, but you catch Kemeni a lot later this evening on Ghana Tonight. As well, News 360 at 7 p.m. tomorrow, the Ski Point. And so we've got news for you all throughout the week and the weekend.
Indeed.
I am Mawena Egbeta.
And I am Kemeni Amano. We will see you same time Monday. Stay on here for more programming. Bye-bye.